16 players tonight have staked $4 million between them as the $250,000 challenge brings the great, the good, and frankly the pretty rich to Crown's Aussie Millions Poker Championship. It's a lot of money, that's for sure, but to these players, it's their chance to shoot up the all-time money list and seal their place in poker history.
Went well last year. I'm running good, playing good, so short field, so it won't be too tough to win, but obviously the field will be pretty strong, but I'm happy. I feel comfortable at the minute sitting with anyone, so just see what happens.
This is the biggest buy-in tournament I've ever played. I've never really played anything bigger than 100,000.
I'm Lynn Gilmartin, this is Melbourne, Australia, and you have a tableside seat to the biggest buy-in tournament in the world. Welcome to the Aussie Millions.
Welcome to the feature table at the Crown Casino. Our lineup tonight starts with Gus Hansen in seat 1. Next to him in seat 2 is Chinese magnate Richard Yong. In seat 3 it is intimidating, quietly spoken Jason Mercier. And seat 4, another Chinese businessman with money to burn, it's Paul Fua. In seat 6, young Tom Dwan. And in seat 8, the English sensation Sam Trickett. 6 players around our feature table. Some of them very familiar and feared. Few more so than young Sam Trickett from England, and indeed Gus Hansen, the Dane, who's picked up ace-5 offsuit. Jason Mercier passes from the button, but Chinese magnate Paul Fua can call with king-jack offsuit, and Tom Dwan makes it 3 with a suited 7-3. Well, decent start out of the box for Dwan, but it is Fua who is ahead. Top pair, decent kicker, first to act. One of the players from the Far East who have plenty of money and like to tangle with the big boys. Not afraid to put the pressure on, and this is a speculative call perhaps by Dwan, wanting to see what develops on 4th Street. Hansen out of the way, and it is a 4. That gives Dwan a gut shot. He'd need a 5 for the straight. Fua's hand has not improved, but how does he fancy his chances against such a storied player as Tom Dwan? Not afraid to bet. Dwan trying to get as much information as he can by gazing down at his opponent. Well, if he intended to bluff him, it's not going to work now because Fua has made 2 pair. Trying to look as miserable about it as possible. He's been called every time he did bet, so no trickery needed here. 25,000 and an immediate fold, of course, from Dwan. Cards in motion. 16 players stumped up the $250,000 for this. Gus Hansen folding what for him is a brilliant hand. And we're round to Fua again. He wants to play with 10-8. And we are 4-handed. No one has a particularly great hand, but that will change with the flop, I'm sure, and it certainly does. It's an action flop. Richard Yong and Paul Fua both have 8, so we may see our Chinese billionaires go at it. Dwan with nothing. Trickett's nothing got even worse after that flop. But there could be some blood on the carpet here. That ace will scare neither of them. They have trip 8s. Flat call there. Neither of them make their full house. So it's Yong with the queen kicker who bets out.
It's a fair handicap.
And just a call from Fua. And he'll see that he saved himself some money by not being too adventurous. Throws his cards away with a little bit of disgust. From Canada, it is Sorrel Mitzi, highly respected and super successful. Up to 7, nearly a full complement at this table. And we are looking at Sorrel Mitzi. Doesn't want to play this one. Straight onto his telephone. Tom Dwan, suited King Jack, makes it 3. Trickett and Hanson out of the way, but Richard Yong on the button with a medium ace, says I'll have a peep, and Paul Fua completes with his pocket 4s, the sailboats. Let's see where they can take him after this flop. Well, not so far. Dwan is top dog. So it's very much the professional against the two spirited relative amateurs. They both feature very highly on their country's all-time money lists, but they're not full-time professionals, as they both have to run business empires. Poker table, of course, is Dwan's empire, and he now leads healthily and wants to make them pay to see. Yong's out of the way. Paul Fua just with the underpair. Has a look. It hasn't worked out for him. Dwan may attempt to extract a little extra value here. How much can I get paid?
17,000.
Pot up near 40,000 now. Fua can really only beat a bluff here, but he knows that Dwan is fully capable of making one. But he does the right thing. So, a small but steady win for Durr. Sorrel Mitzi seems unimpressed on his telephone.
Kid down there with a red hat.
Oh yeah, I was at the table, and then he said, like, I haven't changed my game in forever, but you made me change my game.
Richard Yong gets rid of the door. Brunson. Folded round to Sorrel Mitzi. 7-5 in clubs.
2,200.
Tom Dwan calling with paint. Out of position. Sam Trickett has a decent hand, makes the call, and just Gus in the big blind.
Bet Gus folds.
Take the over.
Throws in the chips, and we are off to the races. There is an ace for Trickett. Hanson and Mitzi make bottom pair. Only Tom Dwan really missed that one.
5,600.
Gus more than capable of raising here. But he decides to fold. Mitzi has backdoor flush opportunities, but they're pretty slender. Nevertheless, decides to see one more card, so heads up. That is a club. Trickett still in front, but keenly aware there are two flush draws out there. They want to finish this one now.
1,400.
Mitzi's hand improved. As we can see, has a 1 in 3 chance of winning this if it goes to the river. He may choose to try and win it now.
Go.
Makes the call. Our final card is good news for Trickett, but it does put a third heart out there, which could slow things down. He knows that Mitzi was calling to hit something.
That's not good. Straight to voicemail.
Trickett first to act,
First time I called him.
puts in
18,000.
just over 18,000.
You know, like I don't know, I think he clicks that or something.
Will Mitzi consider coming over the top? Try to steal this one away.
So sick.
Not this time. A lot of money at stake, of course. First prize in this tournament, 2 million Aussie dollars. Top 3 get paid. Blinds at 500, 1,000.
Had like kings and sevens or something.
Mitzi going walkabout. Tom Dwan going nowhere with King, Queen and diamonds.
No, I turned him that flush up. Should have folded the flop. Should have folded pre-flop and should have folded on the flop.
And the price
And half the deck.
is right for Gus Hansen to call. Round to Richard Yong. Well, not surprisingly, he raises with the Cowboys. Richard Yong from Malaysia, plays out of Macau, China these days. An internet billionaire.
Got it. No, I can't. I don't.
Yeah, obviously.
I don't even know which hand anymore.
That's a good sign.
Dwan is lured
Maybe
in.
I don't want anymore.
How will Gus fancy his Queen Jack now in the face of a hefty raise and a call?
Yeah, we can do that.
What I'll do.
Most fancy he's behind at the moment. Richard Yong almost licking his lips there. And he certainly is in a powerful position as we prepare to go to the flop. No sign of the Case King, but Dwan and Hansen both hit what they think is top pair. Richard Yong lying in the bushes with his kings.
$32,000. Oh,
Dwan is lured into a call. And even though Gus did hit his queen, he knows there's been some strong betting. And a naturally gifted poker player, as he is. Well, he might have got out of the way there. Wants to see another one. And he probably thinks he's happy, but it is Tom Dwan who has him crushed at the moment. Can Richard Yong get away from it?
You know who that is?
Yeah, yeah.
What? No, it's like a joke.
No straights or flushes out there, so this is going to come down pretty much to the whole cards. Jason Mercier's t-shirt says no photos please, but he seems to be showing one to Sorrel Mitzi.
Because when you look at Antonio, when you do his
And Young makes a hugely disciplined fold of the kings. He read that perfectly. Dwan and Hansen have tussled on many an occasion. Gus, one of the hardest players to put on any sort of range.
91,000.
This is now getting pretty expensive. Gus. Trip queens, jack kicker.
91.
At that point I was like pump committed, so I had to pay it.
Cool.
And Gus does make the call. He'll need to hit a jack. And look at that. An absolute disaster for Tom Dwan. Gus has the full boat. He's been behind all the way in this hand. But floating down the river has come his salvation. And he checks into Dwan.
Takes a shot.
And Dwan shoves, and this is not going to take long for Gus to call and roll over his full house. Slightly gutted Tom Dwan is up and away.
Alright, no sir. Not really.
It's such a wonderful tournament, the Aussie Millions, and it's great that it attracts so many different people from all over the world and some of the best poker players in the world.
Now, Daniel, welcome to Melbourne. This I like to call the party capital of Australia. Would you agree?
The party capital of Australia? I don't know. Sydney's got something going on too. It's pretty close.
Plenty of sunshine outside, but in the casino it is all business.
3,000.
No one wearing any sunglasses, which is quite a novelty these days at a poker table. Perhaps they've stopped doing that because they can't read their texts. Gus Hansen with a big fat pile of chips raises up with 10-7. Paul Fua, small blind, a rag ace. And he speculates with that, re-raising to 16,000. Sorrel has Queen 7 in clubs. And he re-raises. So pop, pop, pop. And Hansen is out of the way. Paul Fua suddenly under pressure. That ace-5 will begin to look absolutely Lilliputian. And it is Sorrel Mitzi whose bully boy tactics work there.
It was the perfect hand against Jungle, man. Probably flop the set. Oh, that hand against Jungle? Yeah. He had a set. I mean, you just
Hansen,
had
10-9,
I
connectors.
understand it's hard to put you on that hand. You had to have the backdoor diamonds with that hand.
57.
Really.
Yeah,
Oh, right, yeah. I understand. Yeah, no, the 2 queens was there too. But
Hansen and Trickett discussing previous hands, educating each other.
could easily have a queen there too. So it's like,
It's like Einstein and Niels Bohr talking about physics.
yeah, queen, full queen king.
Two fantastic poker minds. Gus will not want to see diamonds here.
Yeah, I have to have turned
And there they duly are. Paul Feuer with the nut flush draw and middle pair. Gus just with a medium flush draw.
8,400.
I didn't think I was getting paid up. That came back to work because it looked funky.
You can't help wondering how much poker players are missing in the modern age by spending more time looking at their phones than their opponents. That is the age we live in. Hard to imagine Doyle Brunson. There is the flush, so this could now get expensive for the Dane. He's drawing dead as a doornail. And he does hammer one of those nails into his coffin, certainly as far as this hand is concerned. Paul Feuer sitting with the nuts. The river is an 8, and one more chance for Gus to lose some money. True to form, he seems to be reaching for chips. And he makes it just over 55,000. Now it is Oscar time for Paul Feuer. Trying to look miserable. Not sure what he's got. We know, and he knows, so what looks like it might get paid here. Gus doubled up, of course, so
All in.
has plenty of chips to play with. But it's gone cool all in. And he's certainly good enough to get rid of a 10 high flush.
It was funny, in 125, I get a rebate. James Dempsey said,
all on table 2 is 7-9 of diamonds. Up against Philides ace jack offsuit. Not an ace.
The Dane clutching his skull as though this is the hardest decision he's ever had to make. This is definitely going to fall into the category of a crying call if he makes it. And he does call, and he sees immediately that
No, we're going.
I thought you had a spit of diamonds.
first giggle of the day from Paul Feuer. Not surprisingly, he has doubled the amount in front of him. Yong looks down at Queen Jack. Mercier with Ace 9.
Ace, 7,200.
Bumps it up, and the newly enriched Paul Feuer, well, he just won with a Diamond King, so why not call again? And Yong makes it a party with Queen Jack. So it is the two billionaires against the poker professional. Yong is the player who leaps out in front. Top pair. Mercier makes the continuation. Didn't connect with that flop particularly hard. Paul Feuer has middle pair. back to Young, who makes the call. And now Mercier leaps over them, hurtling into the lead with his pair of aces. There is another diamond there for Fua. Once again, he has the nut flush draw.
John Joanne.
19,500.
C1 on table 2.
Should be Tony or Hashem. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Surprised Tony played this.
He had like a perfect line for it after cashing 100, 240 million. Exactly.
What about Tony Blue?
Oh, Tony Blue.
Fua looks as though he's just going to call here. And Richard Young makes another good fold. So can this be a diamond? Indeed it can. Lightning strikes twice for Paul Fua.
Check.
There are full houses out there, so not the absolute nuts, but at a short-handed table, he will of course think that he's way in front and be right.
No, it's joy.
58,000.
So the Chinese billionaires are causing some consternation to the full-time pros. These guys won't have played with them as much as they've sat down with each other. And Mercier decides to live and fight another day. Over an hour in now to the $250,000 buy-in tournament here at the Crown Casino in Melbourne.
How long till the break?
3 get paid, $2 million for first prize. Not bad for a day's work. Gus Hansen has been up and down, roughly where he started. He bumps it up with the seafood hand, the king crab. Richard Young calls with paint, and Paul Fua is being asked for just under 4,000 to call with ace queen, and naturally makes that decision. So once again, it's the billionaires against the poker pro. Nothing for Hansen there. Paul Fua is out in front. Top pair, very decent kicker, and betting into him is the Great Dane.
Touch over 10 minutes left in this game.
8,400.
Will be a 2-minute break for the completion of this game, as well as a 45
Middle pair for Young.
at the end of level 4.
And now Fua. How slow does he want to play this? Gus was active pre-flop, but as we all know with Gus Hansen, that doesn't necessarily mean he's got aces, at the very least. That does give Hansen the flush draw.
Check that. Check.
Richard Young with very little chance of winning this one now.
Tables will swap.
Gus decides to fast play it again. Young has shown the ability to make good folds, once again gets out of the way. Paul Fua accidentally shortchanging the pot, but the dealer keeps him steady. So, the dead man's hand for Paul Fua. Aces and eights with the queen kicker. And Gus has missed out. He's already lost one monster pot to Fua. If he tries to get too saucy here, there's a chance it may happen again.
Check.
It's been checked to him, and they'll turn the cards over. And Fua will once again be the recipient of some charity from Denmark's greatest.
Yes, depends. We all want to go to Sydney. Also can fly. No, no.
Is it worth
Sydney?
No, we're back to Macau. Is it worth going? Will there be a game?
I think there will be games every day.
Oh, okay.
Sam Trickett saying, is it worth going to Macau? Will there be a game there? Well, anyone who's been to Macau will tell you that they do love to gamble out there.
Sometimes there's game happening, we don't even know.
And there's certainly some rich pickings for the top-level poker players to be made there.
Special games.
I certainly wouldn't mind a piece of Trickett if he does decide to sail up China way. Trickett now being asked to call with King 10. Former footballer, got into poker after he got injured. Doesn't want to get involved with the King 10.
9,200.
Gus with 8-5. Most other people would be trashing that, but of course Gus plays at a higher level than nearly anyone on the planet. Capable of making moves with almost any two cards. This time it hasn't worked out for him.
Check. Check. Check.
Mitzi has the ace.
How much? 24.6.
Run the turn of the river.
And Paul Fua doesn't want to play either.
Yeah, go ahead. Ten of diamonds is full, like flying around.
Mitzi doing a bit of rabbit hunting,
Like Gus would
seeing
call
what
it.
would have happened, but the good news for him is he won the hand anyway. A few new faces at the table, including bracelet winners John Juanda and Eric Seidel.
I love this tournament, and you know, this was really you know, a nice addition to the tour. It's, you know, it's a big event. I think everybody gets excited about it, so it's fun to be back.
Feeling great, actually. I got my best night of sleep on the trip so far, and poker's been going well past couple of weeks, so I'm feeling pretty good. Well, I feel pretty good. I've been playing a little poker the last couple of days with some tough cookies, so I feel like you know, my brain is ready to fade these guys. It's going to be a fast structure, so I'm prepared for that, and we'll just, you know, hopefully win some coin flips.
One man used to winning in seat 1 is John Juanda from the United States. Also with us, Phil Ivey, not short of a little bit of jewellery himself. Eric Seidel's in seat 3. He made millions in Australia last year. He'll want to do the same. Also with us in seat 4 is a fine Chinese player, Nick Wong. Winfred Yu is used to seeing big money. He runs the big game in Macau. In seat 6, young American Dan Smith, already a winner at the Aussie Millions. In seat 7, Kid Poker from Canada, Daniel Negreanu. And in seat 8, fighting out of Finland, it is Patrick Antonius. Our second feature table just shows the pedigree that has entered this high roller tournament. 250,000 Aussie dollars to buy in. Ivy with the 10-9 offsuit in the cutoff.
7,500.
Seidel folds from the button. Nick Wong, very short stacked, all in with King 10.
5,800.
And Winfred Yu has already put his big blind in. May fancy getting involved. He's out of position to Phil Ivey, which cannot feel comfortable. But he's got a puncher's chance of hitting this flop. And straight out of the box, he does indeed make top pair. It's check back to Ivey.
Check.
And we'll see a fourth card.
Check that.
Nick Wong would need a king to stay alive in this tournament. Winfried Yu still with top pair. And this time he decides to test the mettle of Mr. Ivey. We're all in. The cards will go over. And Nick Wong will see the bad news. He needs to hit a cowboy. And does not manage to do so. Two pairs for Winfried Yu, and we say goodbye after a very brief hello to Nick Wong. Still very much a lot of talent around this table though. John Juanda in seat 1. Got a few bracelets at home. He's in the big blind, so Ivey to act first. Ivey and Seidel sitting next to each other. That's a couple of spots on the all-time top 10 money list there. Negreanu certainly a feature on that list as well. Antonius with Queen 10.
Alright, 8,500.
Juanda in the big blind. 10-4 is a hand a lot of people would be trashing straight away, but John Juanda takes every decision very seriously and very slowly. Involved in a super long heads up to win the WSOP Europe a while back. I think it lasted about 16 hours. Most of that was John Juanda thinking. And he's decided to test Antonius out here.
59,500.
But Antonius steely enough to come right back at him. These two have played together at the highest level many, many times. And Juanda certainly wants to make this occasion last a bit longer, so he gets rid of his 10-4. Nearly 2 hours in. Blinds at 1,500, 3,000. Seidel, who had a fabulous Aussie Millions fortnight a year or two ago, won around $3 or $4 million. Gets out of the way, and Antonius once again the aggressor. This time it's his old mucker, Phil Ivey, who he has nicely crushed at the moment. Jack 6 over 10-6. Diamond draw for Patrick Antonius.
Check.
Not much for Ivey. Check, check. Ivey picks up a gut shot draw.
Check. $8,500.
Ivey drawing to the straight, Antonius drawing to the flush, and good fold there from Ivey, realising that at least a couple of his outs might not have been there. Daniel Negreanu suited Queen Jack.
68. Raise 6,800.
Kid Poker bumps it up. Antonius seems to want to play every hand at the moment.
6-8.
Suited connectors, which is also what is in front of John Juanda, slightly better. Jack 10.
4,000 to the $500 ante. Next hand, 2 fold 5.
Call. 6-8.
Ivy has some of Antonius's cards, makes the call. Winfried Yu out of the way. Look at this, young Dan Smith. Having a great Aussie Millions, and Dan Smith has woken up with 2 ladies.
Raise. 29.5. Yeah.
Too much for Negreanu.
29.5.
The fire alarms are going off in Antonius's head. Realises that 5-4 probably isn't going to cut the mustard here. We've seen Juanda speculate and try a few re-raises here, but they were against players he knows a bit better than Dan Smith. And he also, of course, has Phil Ivey on his left, so may not want to get too adventurous here. Dan Smith doing his best to cover his face with his hat in his hand. Might as well just wear a hood like Phil Lack used to. We will go to a flop. And that ace, marginally scary for Smith, seeing as he did get a call from Juanda. Juanda has backdoor flush opportunities, backdoor straight opportunities, but frankly, not much else. Here comes the continuation bet from Dan Smith, which does elicit the fold, and that is a healthy shot in the arm for the young American.
Blinds up, 2,000, 4,000.
Let's have a look at our leaderboard. We can see that Paul Fua is out in front, just ghosted by Phil Ivey. Tony Bloom in 8th. 2 bust outs, and Richard Yong at the moment is the man standing dangerously on the trapdoor.
Join us next time as the excitement continues in the Aussie Millions $250,000 challenge.